Vishnu Vishnupara Shatarashata Shishimar Bhakti Vedanta Narayan Gosai Maharaj Shri Gurudev Ki Jai Nitila Vishnu Vishnupara Shatarashata Shishimar Bhakti Vedanta Vaman Gosai Maharaj Ki Jai Nitila Vishnu Vishnupara Ashtatarashata Shishimar Bhakti Vedanta Swami Maharaj Ki Jai Nitila Vishnu Vishnupara Ashtatarashata Shishimar Bhakti Vigyan Keshav Gosai Maharaj Ki Jai Nitila Pravishtam Vishnupara Shatarashata Shmar Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Gosai Prabhupada Ki Jai. Nitila Pravishta Maha-Bhagavat Shloka Ksharas Babaji Maharaj Ki Jai. Nitila Pravishta Shada Satchararanda Bhakti Vinod Thakur Ki Jai. Nitila Pravishta Vaishnav Sarva Bhoma Shada Jagannathas Babaji Maharaj Ki Jai. Shri Rupano Gauriya Guru Varga Ki Jai. Shri Rupa Sanatan Bhatta Raghunath. Shri Jeev Gopal Patadash Raghunath Shar Gosai Prabhu Ki Jai. Shri Sarup Damodar Rai Ramanandari Shri Gaur Parshad Vrinda Ki Jai Namachay Shri Hairas Thakur Ki Jai Prem Se Kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasari Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai Shri Kshetra Mandal Gaura Mandal Vraja Mandal Mathura Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai Sarva Abhishta Pradata Giriraj Maharaj Ki Jai Shri Radha Kunda Shama Kundi Munaganga Tulsi Bhakti Devi Ki Jai Shri Harinam Sankirtan Ki Jai Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai Samagata Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai Shri Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bo Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Radhikaya Priyatmane Shri Srimad Bhakti Vedanta Narayaniti Namine Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya eva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gauratishe Namaha Gurave Gaurachandraya Radhikaya Tadalaye Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tar Bhaktaya Namo Namaha Yang Pravrajantamanupeta Krityang Dvaipayano Virahakatara Ajuhava Putreti Tanmayataya Taravo Bhinedu Stang Sarvabhuta Hridaya Munimanatosmi Narayanam Namaskritya Narang Chaiva Narotmam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udirayet Shrinvatang Swakatha Krishna Punya Shavana Kirtana Hridantasto Yabhadrani Vidhunuti Suritsatam Nashta Prayeshvabhadreshu Nityang Bhagava Sevaya Bhagavatyuttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtaki Tavaivasmi na jivami tvaya vina iti vigyaya radhe tvang nayamang charanantikam bhaktya vihina aparada lakshay kshiptashtakama ditaranga madhe kripa mai tvam sharanam prapana vrinde namaste charana ravindam Bhaja Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Haribo, Raseshwari Mataji, and Ganga Didi, and Indira Mataji. Oh yeah, and Raseshwari Mataji, I'll make the recording for you this morning. All right, so today we'll be reading let's go over the verses that we read previously from Veṇu-gīta. Then we'll continue on, and we'll also read the first half of this pastime of Krishna stealing the clothes of the gopis. So, okay. Shukadev Goswami said, "Thus the Vrindavan forest was filled with transparent autumnal waters and cooled by breezes perfumed with the fragrance of lotus flowers growing in the clear lakes. The infallible Lord, accompanied by his cows and cowherd boyfriends, entered that Vrindavan forest. The lakes, rivers, and hills of Vrindavan resounded with the sounds of maddened bees and flocks of birds moving about the flowering trees. In the company of the cowherd boys and Balaram, Madhupati Sri Krishna entered that forest, and while herding the cows, he began to vibrate his flute. When the young ladies in the cowherd village of Vraj heard the song of Krishna's flute, which arouses the influence of Cupid, some of them privately began describing Krishna's qualities to their intimate friends. The cowherd girl began to speak about Krishna, but when they remembered his activities, O king, the power of Cupid disturbed their minds, and thus they could not speak. Let's say this verse because it's so important. Barha piram natavaravapu karnayo karnikaram bibhradvasa kanakapkapisham vaijayantim chamalam randhran venor adharasudaya purayan gopavrindar Vrindaranyam Swapadaramanam Pravishar Gita Kirti. Wearing a peacock feather ornament upon his head, blue karnika flowers on his ears, a yellow garment as brilliant as gold, and a Vaijayanti garland, Lord Krishna exhibited his transcendental form as the greatest of dancers as he entered the forest of Vrindavan, beautifying it with the marks of his footprints. He filled the holes of his flute with the nectar of his lips, and cowherd boys sang his glories. O king, when the young ladies in Vraj heard the sound of Krishna's flute, which captivates the minds of all living beings, they all embraced one another and began describing it. Maybe let's say all the verses, huh? Just so that we'll have said, so that we could say the full Veṇu-gīta today. Akshanvatang svalamidang naparam vidhama sakya pashun anuviveshayator vayasyai vaktram rajesha sutayor anavenu jushtam yarva nipritam anurakta katakshamoksham. The cowherd girl said, "O friends, those eyes that see the beautiful faces of the sons of Maharaj Nanda are certainly fortunate. As these two sons enter the forest, surrounded by their friends, driving the cows before them, they hold their flutes to their mouths and glance lovingly upon the residents of Vrindavan. For those who have eyes, we think there is no greater object of vision. Chuta pravala bahastabda stabhakutpalabja malanu prikta paridhana vichitravesho madhe vire jaturalam pashupala goshtam range yatha natavaro kvachagaya mano. Dressed in a charming variety of garments upon which their garlands rest, and decorating themselves with peacock feathers, lotuses, lilies, newly grown mango sprouts, and clusters of flower buds, Krishna and Balaram shine forth magnificently among the assembly of cowherd boys. They look just like the best of dancers appearing on a dramatic stage, and some they sing. Gopya kemacharadayam kushalang smavenur damodara darasudam api gopikanam bhunkte swayam yaravashishtara samhradinyo hrishyat tvacho shumamuchus Taravodyatarya. My dear gopis, what auspicious activities must the flute have performed to enjoy the nectar of Krishna's lips independently and leave only a taste for us gopis, for whom that nectar is actually meant. The forefathers of the flute, the bamboo trees, shed tears of pleasure. His mother, the river on whose bank the bamboo was born, feels jubilation, and therefore her blooming lotus flowers are standing like hair on her body. Vrindavanam Saki Bhuvo Vitanoti Kiritim Yadevaki Sutapadam Bhujalabdha Lakshmi Govinda Venu Manumatta Mayuranritam Prekshadrisan Vavatratanya Samasta Sattvam. O friend, Vrindavan is spreading the glory of the earth, having obtained the treasure of the lotus feet of Krishna, the son of Devaki. The peacocks dance madly when they hear Govinda's flute, and when other creatures see him from the hilltops, they all become stunned. Dhanyasma muragatayopi harinya eta yanandanandanamupata vichitravesham akarnya venuranitam saha krishna sara pujang dadhur virachitam pranayavalokai. Blessed are all these foolish deer, because they have approached Maharaj Nanda's son, who is gorgeously dressed and is playing on his flute. Indeed, both the doe and the bucks worship the Lord with looks of love and affection. Krishnam niriksha vinatotsavarupa shrutva cha tatkvanita venu vivikta gitam devyo vimana gataya smaranunnasaram Brashyat prasuna kabara mumuhur vinivya. Krishna's beauty and character create a festival for all women. Indeed, when the demigods' wives flying in airplanes with their husbands catch sight of him and hear his resonant flute song, their hearts are shaken by Cupid, and they become so bewildered that the flowers fall out of their hair and their belts loosen. Kavashta Krishna Mukanirgata Veṇu-gīta Piyushamuttabhitakarna putai pibantya Shavasnuta stanapaya kavalasmatastur Govindamatmani drishashruka sprashantya. Using their upraised ears as vessels, the cows are drinking the nectar of the flute song flowing out of Krishna's mouth. The calves, their mouths full of milk from their mother's moist nipples, stand still as they take Govinda within themselves through their tear-filled eyes and embrace him within their hearts. Prayo batamba vihaga munayo vanesmin Krishne kshitam taruditam kalavenu gitam Aruhya yedruma bhajan ruchira pravalan Shrindvangti milita drisho vigatanya vacha. O mother, in this forest, all the birds have risen onto the beautiful branches of the trees to see Krishna. With closed eyes, they are simply listening in silence to the sweet vibrations of his flute, and they are not attracted by any other sound. Surely these birds are on the same level as great sages. Nadstadatarpadharya mukunda gitam avartalakshita mano bhava vegha alinganasthagitam urmi budhar murarir grinanti pada yugalam kamalopahara. This is what we ended with yesterday. When the rivers hear the flute song of Krishna, their minds begin to desire him, and thus the flow of their currents is broken and their waters are agitated, moving around in whirlpools. Then with the arms of their waves, the rivers embrace Murari's lotus feet and, holding on to them, present offerings of lotus flowers. Now today's verse. Now let's see. Haribo Sanjit Mandal and Sudevi Didi. Dandavat pranams. Drishtva tape vrajapashun saharama gopai sancharayantam anuvenu prema pravreda udita kusumavalibhi sakyur vyadhat pashum sai sakyur vyadhat swavapusham buddha atapatram. Let's read from here. In the company of Balaram and the cowherd boys, Lord Krishna is continually vibrating his flute as he herds all the animals of Raj, even under the full heat of the summer sun. Seeing this, the cloud in the sky has expanded himself out of love. He is rising high and constructing out of his own body, with its multitude of flower like droplets of water, an umbrella for the sake of his friends. Sarartha-darsini commentary by Srila Visvanatha Cakravarti Thakura. The gopis lament to themselves. Alas, alas, even those who are in the mood of friendship with Krishna, Sakyabhav, have perfected their lives by serving him. Out of praying for his friends, Krishna and Balaram, out of praying for his friends Krishna and Balaram, the cloud expanded himself to shield them from the intense heat of the sun. The cloud thinks of himself as Krishna's friends because they are so similar. They both remove distress by downpours of nectar, ras. They are both dark blue in color, and both exhibit lightning and thunder, which in Krishna's case manifested as his yellow dhoti and flute playing. Identifying with the mood of friendship, the cloud made a light umbrella, with his body composed of a collection of water drops, in order to shield his friend Krishna. In this way, the cloud gives pleasure to Krishna, but we do not get an opportunity to please him. Therefore, the gopis' idea is, to hell with us. This is a famous verse, this one. Purna pulinda urugaya padabjaraga Shri Kumkumev Nadaita Stanamanditena Tadarshana Smararujastrinarushitena Limpantya Anana Kucheshu Jahustadadhim. The Aborigine women of the Vrindavan area become disturbed by lust when they see the grass marked with reddish kumkum powder. Endowed with this color of Krishna's lotus feet, this powder originally decorated the breast of his beloveds, and when the Aborigine women smear it on their faces and breasts, they feel fully satisfied and give up all their anxiety. Commentary. Leaving aside the attraction of the flute, this verse speaks of the lotus feet of Rishabhanunandini Sri Radha, which have the power, by even the slightest contact, to induce complete attraction for Krishna, and to raise one to the 7th level of prem called Madan and Mahabhav. I don't understand this because I thought that was exclusively Srimati Radhika. Just saving a question. One gopi said, "The Pulinda women have reached perfection, but we have not. Therefore, we want to know what kind of austerities they have performed." This is the hint in the gopi statement about the perfection of the Pulinda women. The gopi continued. Why are they perfect? They smear their faces and breasts with the kumkum that has dyed the feet of Krishna. Where did that kumkum come from? The kumkum came from the breast of the gopi Krishna was enjoying with, namely Radhika. Though we desire to praise Radhika's good fortune of having such exalted attraction to Krishna, out of shyness, we do not specifically mention her. Though that is indeed the kumkum of Radha, due to lust, the Pulindas did not even show it proper respect. What did they do? Upon seeing the grass smeared with kumkum, which had fallen from Krishna's feet after he had enjoyed with Radha, the Pulindas became lusty. I can't imagine what would happen if they see Krishna personally. Upon seeing Krishna from a distance, the Pulindas developed a great desire to smell the fragrance of Krishna's body, so they smeared the kumkum from the grass on their faces. Then, with a desire to relish the enjoyment Krishna engaged in, they smeared it on their breasts, thinking that they were being embraced by Krishna. By this action, the pain of their lust was pacified. Indeed, that kumkum has a special power in it. In all our births, we have not received it even once. In Ujjvala Nilamani, Srila Rupa Goswami describes Madan as follows. The stage of Madan is exalted as the topmost perfection, and it inspires the full-blown manifestation of all loving sentiments, bhavs. All enjoyments of meeting directly with Krishna and all pleasurable conjugal pastimes exist within Madan. It is the very essence of the Hladini Shakti, always present in Srimati Radharani. This definition should be applied to the present verse. Thus, this verse indicates that the gopis experienced enjoyments through pastimes with Krishna. Therefore, from verse 6 of this chapter, it should be understood that the gopis were embraced by Krishna, who suddenly appeared before them, and thus they began speaking in this chapter. Oh, and this is a very famous verse. This is one to Giriraj Govardhan. This is a really good one to memorize. Hantaya Madhirabala Haridasa Varyo Yad Rama Krishna Charana Sparasha Pramodha Manam Tanoti Sahago Ganayostayoryat Pani Yasuya Vasakandara Kandamulai. You know, in the Govardhan Vaspartana Dashakam, there's one verse, how does it go? Giri Nripahari Dasya Shreni Varyeti Nama Mritamidam Uditam Shri Radhika Vaktra Chandrat. So that verse is saying that Srimati Radhika, she glorifies Giriraj Govardhan as being Haridasa Varya, and it's referring to this verse here. Of all the devotees, this Govardhan hill is the best. Oh, my friends, this hill supplies Krishna and Balaram, along with their calves, cows, and cowherd friends, with all kinds of necessities: water for drinking, very soft grass, caves, fruits, flowers, and vegetables. In this way, the hill offers respects to the Lord. Being touched by the lotus feet of Krishna and Balaram, Govardhan Hill appears very jubilant. Commentary. The gopis talk among themselves. O Sakhis, without taking shelter of a great devotee, our desires will never be fulfilled. We have heard from Gargi, the daughter of Gargamuni, about the glories of Hari's devotees, and that Govardhan Hill is the best among them. Therefore, let's go there today, bathe in Manasa Ganga, and take darshan of Haridev, the presiding deity of that place. Certainly, even our elders will not object to this. Moreover, Krishna is playing on the slope of Govardhan. Deciding on this plan, the gopis glorify Govardhan Hill because it fulfills the desires of Krishna, his companions, and hopefully will fulfill their desire to meet with Krishna as well. There are three chief Haridasas, devotees of Hari, mentioned in Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam: Yudhishthir, Uddhav, and Govardhan. First, Yudhishthir is described. Haridasasya Rajarshe Rajasuya Mahodayam Naiva Tripyan Vrashangsanta Piban Martyo Mritam Yata. As they all glorified the wonderful Rajasuya Yagya performed by that great saintly king and servant of Lord Hari, Yudhishthir, they were not satiated, just as an ordinary man is never satiated when drinking nectar. So see in the verse it says Haridasa. So Yudhishthir is Haridas. Then second, Uddhav is described. Saredvana giridranor viksham kusumitan druman krishnam samsmarayan reme haridaso vrajokasam. Dang it, I didn't know what meter that was. Now I know. Anyways, it's too late. So there also, see, Uddhav is Haridasa. That servant of Hari, Uddhav, seeing the rivers, forests, mountains, valleys, and flowering trees of Raj, enjoyed inspiring the inhabitants of Vrindavan by reminding them of Lord Krishna. Of the three servants of Hari, the present verse states that Govardhan is the best, Haridasa Varyo. Oh, whoops, that should be next paragraph. Anyways, of the three servants of Hari, the present verse states that Govardhan is the best, Haridasa Varyo. See, there's the Varyo, that means the topmost. From the touch of Krishna's lotus feet, the rocks of Govardhan become as soft as mud in order to preserve the unique marks on Krishna's feet, such as the Gode, flag, and thunderbolt. Contacting Krishna's lotus feet causes Govardhan to display symptoms of ecstasy, such as perspiration in the form of melting stones, hairs standing on end as erect blades of grass, and tears of love as gushing waterfalls. This verse describes the sweet opulences of Govardhan Hill. Paniya refers to the fragrant, cool water gushing from Govardhan's waterfalls, which Krishna and Balaram drink and use to wash their feet and mouths. Govardhan also offers tasty beverages, such as honey, mango juice, and pilu juice. Suryavasa refers to durva grass, used in making ritualistic hand wash, arghya. Ritualistic hand wash? Huh, okay. Anyways, the word Suryavasa also refers to Govardhan's soft and succulent grasses, which nourish the cows and thereby increase the milk production. Krishna, Balaram, and the boys play, sit and lie down in Govardhan's many caves, which give pleasure when the weather is too hot or cold, or when it rains. Govardhan also offers soft edible roots, jewels to decorate the body, flat rocks for sitting, and mirrors in the form of smooth stones. Externally, the phrase Rama Gopai means Balaram. The gopis use this phrase to hide their feelings for Krishna. However, for the gopis, Ram refers to Krishna, who is Ramaniya, charming and attractive, and Ramanam, the source of intimate enjoyment. By the touch of Krishna's feet, such joy springs up in their hearts. Ga gopakaranuvanam nayatorudara Veṇu-svanai kalapadai britsu sakya Aspandanam gatimatam pulakastarunam Niryogapasha kritalakshanayor vichitram. My dear friends, as Krishna and Balaram pass through the forest with their cowherd friends, leading their cows, they carry ropes to bind the cows' rear legs at the time of milking. When Lord Krishna plays on his flute, the sweet music causes the moving living entities to become stunned, and the non-moving trees to tremble with ecstasy. These things are certainly very wonderful. Shouldn't write Lord Krishna. Anyways. Commentary. Furthermore, we should not delay in going to meet this flute player. Since he is following the cows, he may soon wander off to a distant forest. With this idea, the gopis speak this verse. To indicate that the cowherd boys were in the mood of serving Krishna, the syllable ka is added to the word gopakar, cowherd boys. Thus, the word gopakar indicates that the boys were protecting Krishna with love. Another indication of the word is that every morning they went with Krishna. Mother Yashoda brought them together for this purpose. While Krishna played the flute, they wandered from forest to forest herding the cows. This produced a very wonderful scene. What was so wonderful? When the moving living entities heard that flute sound, they became motionless. The non-moving trees adopted the qualities of humans and trembled in ecstasy. Niryoga Pasha is a type of noose used to restrain calves at milking time. That rope, which had clusters of flowers and pearls at both ends, signified them as cowherd boys. Sometimes Krishna and Balaram would tie that rope on their yellow silk turbans as stylish ornaments. Evam vida bhagavato yavrindavan. Evam vida bhagavato yavrindavan charina. Oh, wait, sorry. Evam vida bhagavato yavrindavana varnayanto mito gopya kridastan mayatang yayu. Thus narrating to one another the playful pastimes of the Supreme Personality of Godhead as he wandered about in the Vrindavan forest, the gopis became fully absorbed in thoughts of him. Commentary. Shukadev Goswami summarizes the chapter in this verse. The gopis attained the platform of being filled with Krishna by describing Krishna's flute playing, forest rambling, and cow herding pastimes. The word mita, with one another, refers to mitya rahasi, meeting one another in a secluded place. Thus, following after their boyfriends, the gopis met their beloved Krishna in a private place and actually engaged in different intimate pastimes with Krishna. Then, afterwards, the gopis attained a state of tanmayatang, absorption and ecstatic meditation upon Krishna's pastimes and enchantment in transcendental ecstasy. Because the gopis say later in Bhagavatam, in chapter 29, verse 36, O lotus-eyed one, from the time we touched your feet with our hands, we could no longer live with our husbands. So because that, it is reasonable to say on this day the gopis enjoyed with Krishna. Okay. Thus ends the commentary on the 21st chapter of the 10th canto of the Bhagavatam for the pleasure of the devotees in accordance with the previous acharyas. All right, so now let's see what's... I'm just seeing everything's... Haribo, Rukmini Didi, Champak Didi, Shasharmaji, Madhavi Didi, and Yashoda Didi. Haribo. So now we begin. We'll read up to the point where Krishna steals the gopis' clothes and the first things that he says to them. And then tomorrow we'll read the conversation that ensued. Krishna steals the garments of the unmarried gopis, chapter 22. Let me just move this here. Shri Shuka Uvacha Hemante Pratame Masi Nandavraja Kumarika Cherur Havishyam Bhunjana Katyayanyarchana Vratam. Shukadev Goswami said, during the first month of the winter season, the young unmarried girls of Gokul observed the vow of worshipping goddess Katyayani. For the entire month, they ate only unspiced khichdi. Commentary. This verse describes the virgin gopis, the Vraja Kumarika, how they worshipped their worship of goddess Katyayani to attain Krishna as their husband. And Krishna is stealing their clothing, Krishna's conversation with them and fulfilling their desires, and Krishna's praising the trees. After describing the purvarag of the married gopis such as Radhika toward Krishna in the autumn Sharad season, there's a description of the purvarag of the unmarried, the Nityasiddha gopis. Of the unmarried Nityasiddha gopis such as Danya in connection with the Hemant season. And purvarag is the intense loving attachment before meeting the beloved. Although in fact their loving affection for Krishna Although in fact their loving affection for Krishna as an intimate associate was already established, still the Kanya Kumaris, the virgin gopis, following the ways of ordinary society, performed worship of Katyayani Devi to attain Krishna as their husband. The distinction between these Kumari gopis performing a vrat in the month of Magashirsha and those like Radha is made in the Hari Vangsha, Vishnu Puran, and Brahma Puran in such verses as the following. The young unmarried gopis gathered together while it was still dark. Yuvatir Gopakanyascha Ratro Sankalya Kalavit. Okay, so Srimati Radhika and all the other married gopis are not involved in this pastime. Though I think they come at the very end when Krishna appears, I think. I can't remember. Anyways, let's read it from here. Aplutyam bhasikalindya chalante chodite rune kritva pratikritam devim anarchur nripasaikatim kandarmalai surabhibhir balibhir dhupadhipikai uchavachais chapoharai pravala palatandulai. My dear king, after they had bathed in the water of the Yamuna, just as the sun was rising, the gopis made an earthen deity of goddess Durga on the riverbank. Then they worshipped her with such aromatic substances as sandalwood pulp, along with other items both opulent and simple, including lamps, fruits, betel nuts, newly grown leaves, and fragrant garlands and incense. Commentary. The word balibhir indicates offerings of cloth, ornaments, and food. We can all say this together. This verse. We recite this when we go to Chiragat. Katyayani Mahamaye Mahayoginyadishwari Nanda Gopa Sutang Devi Pating Me Kurute Namaha. That's the mantra that the gopis chanted. Iti mantram japantyasta pujam chakru kumarika. Each of the young unmarried girls performed her worship while chanting the following mantra. O goddess Katyayani, O great potency of the Lord, O possessor of great mystic power and mighty controller of all, please make the son of Nanda Maharaj my husband. I offer my obeisances unto you. Commentary. The gopis prayed, O Katyayani, please make the son of Nanda Maharaj my husband. But goddess Katyayani may object. When you say please do it, what does that have to do with me? You should be allowed to do whatever you wish in this matter. I, on the other hand, shall simply inspire your parents to do the needful in this matter. Therefore, you should rather use the words, please cause someone to do it, or please give this. Anticipating this objection, the gopis say in anxiety, O great yogini, my connection with Krishna should immediately be arranged by you, without the unnecessary disturbance of my parents. I am too anxious for this and cannot wait. Besides, Krishna has not taken Brahminical initiation yet, so he is not ready for marriage. Therefore, goddess, overlook the proper rituals of marriage, and in the Gandharva style, let us marry Krishna immediately. Such is the implication. Gandharva marriage is a love marriage by personal agreement without parental sanction. You just put garlands on each other, right? Katyayani may object. You are thinking of Krishna as your husband and are anxious to have intimate connection with him even without your parents knowing.
But how can I possibly fulfill this desire of yours? The gopi replies, O Adishwari, you have all powers, therefore nothing is impossible for you. You are Mahamaya, the supreme enchantress. Therefore, by the power of illusion, you should bewilder my parents so that they will not know of my marriage and the secret of my intimate association with Krishna. Taking the word Devi to mean Divyati, play, it refers to Krishna who plays and causes one to play. It refers to Krishna who plays and who causes one to play. Devyati. Therefore the gopi says, Devi means Krishna is indeed the husband, so please make him so. Such a status of being a husband can be effected without marriage, and thus there is no harm even if I am married to some other cowherd man. In this way, each of the gopis separately meditates on the meaning of the mantra chanted to petition goddess Katyayani. In Ananda Vrindavan Champu, the gopis pray, O worshipable Devi, please accept this foot wash and cool off our burning breasts with the water from Krishna's feet. We worship you with this arghya, so please give us the association of Krishna, who is Maharga, most worshipable. Yeah, see, arghya, before it was saying arghya means hand wash. But that's not what it means here. It doesn't. Arghya means different things, different places, I guess. The goddess Durga mentioned in this verse is not the illusory energy of Krishna called Mahamaya, but rather the internal potency, the Chit Shakti of the Lord, known as Yogamaya. The distinction between the internal and external potency of the Lord is described in the Narad Pancharatra in the conversation between Shruti and Vidya. Mahavishnu's inferior potency, known as Durga, is dedicated to his loving service. Being the Lord's potency, this inferior energy is non-different from him, Mahavishnu Sarupini. There is another superior potency whose form is on the same spiritual level as that of God himself. Simply by scientifically understanding the supreme potency, one can immediately achieve the supreme soul of all souls, who is the Lord of all lords. There is no other process to achieve him. That supreme potency of the Lord is known as Gokuleshwari, the goddess of Gokul. Her nature is to be completely absorbed in love of God, Prem Sarvasa, and through her one can easily obtain the primeval God, the Lord of all that be. This internal potency of the Lord has a covering potency, Avarika Shakti, known as Mahamaya, who rules the material world. In fact, she bewilders the entire universe, and thus everyone within the universe falsely identifies himself with the material body. We can thus understand that the internal and external potencies of the Supreme Lord are personified as Yogamaya and Mahamaya, respectively. The name Durga is sometimes used to refer to the internal, superior potency, as stated in the Pancharatra. In all mantras used to worship Krishna, the presiding deity is the spiritual Durga. Thus, in the transcendental sound vibrations glorifying and worshipping the absolute truth, Sri Krishna, the presiding deity of the particular mantra or hymn is called Durga. To confuse the Yogamaya Durga with the Mahamaya Durga is a mistake. Furthermore, although the pastimes of Raj are on the platform of pure transcendence, they somewhat resemble material pastimes in appearance. Therefore, there is no fault in the gopis' worship of Durga or Mahamaya. Independent thinkers who think that the name of Durga and Mahamaya refer exclusively to the external potency of the Lord have no chance of getting even a touch of the breeze carrying the scent of prem on their body. This is from the Vaishnav Toshani. Evang masam vratam cheru kumarya krishna chetasa bhadrakalim samanarchur bhuyam nanda sutapati. Thus, for an entire month, the girls carried out their vow and properly worshipped the goddess Bhadrakali, fully absorbing their minds in Krishna and meditating upon the following thought. May the son of the King Nanda become my husband. They worshipped Bhadrakali with the vow, "May the son of Nanda be my husband." Oshasyutaya got okay. Oshasyutaya gotrai swar anyonya baddhabhava Krishnam uchar jaguryantya kalindyam snatumanvaham. Each day they rose at dawn, calling out to one another by name. They all held hands and loudly sang the glories of Krishna while going to the Kalindi to take their bath. Commentary. This verse continues the second verse's description of the gopis going to the Yamuna for bathing. They called each other by name, Swai Gotrai. "Oh Tanya, where are you? Why are you late?" Nadya kadachiragatya. Sorry. Nadya kadachirag. Let me look at this here, verse 7. Okay. Nadya kadachiragatya tire nikshipya purvavat vasangshi krishnam gayantyo vijahru salile muda. One day, they came to the river bank, and, putting aside their clothing as they had done before, they happily played in the water while singing the glories of Krishna. Commentary. Kadachit, once here, means on a full moon day when the gopis had completed their 1-month vow. This was mentioned in the 5th verse. To celebrate the successful completion of their vow, the Vraj Kumaris invited Vrishabhanu Nandini, who was the special object of their affection, along with other main gopis, and brought them all to the river to bathe. Their playing in the Yamuna was meant to serve as the Avabhrita Snan, the ceremonial bath taken immediately upon the completion of a Vedic sacrifice. Bhagavangstarabhipretya Krishna Yogeshwareshwara Vayasyar Avritastatra Gatastat Karma Siddhaye. Lord Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead and Master of all masters of mystic yoga, was aware of what the gopis were doing, and thus he went there surrounded by his young companions to award the gopis the perfection of their endeavor. He brought all the young companions, not his equal companions, but the young boys. Commentary. Krishna is the master of all masters of mystic power. Thus, being omniscient, Krishna easily understood the desires of the gopis, and he would fulfill them. The gopis, like all young girls from respectable families, considered the embarrassment of appearing naked before a young boy to be worse than death. Yet Sri Krishna made them come out of the Yamuna and bow down to him. Although the gopis' bodies were fully developed, and although Krishna met them in a secluded place and brought them fully under his control, because Krishna is completely transcendental, there is not a trace of material desire in his mind. As the ocean of transcendental bliss, Sri Krishna wanted to share his bliss with the gopis on a spiritual platform, completely free of mundane lust. This is the import of the words Yogeshwareshwara. According to Shastric references, the word Vayasyai, young companions, means mere toddlers 2 or 3 years old. These young boys were completely naked and were unaware of the difference between male and female. When Krishna went out to herd the cows, they followed him because they were so attached to Krishna that they could not bear to be without him. So Krishna is surrounded by a bunch of 2 and 3-year-olds. So, the Kramadipika states, Krishna was surrounded by babies who spoke in broken language, who wore tiger nails around their necks and tinkling bells around their waists, and who had fat thighs. The Vaishnav Toshani, quoting from the Gautamiya Tantra, lists the names of the boys as Dam, Sudam, Vasudam, and Kinkini. They were the personification of Krishna's heart. Is Dam, Sudam, Vasudam, and Kinkini, they're younger than Krishna? They're that much younger? Anyhow. Interesting. I don't know about. I have to. Asamvasankshupadaya nipam aruhya satvara hasadbhi prahasan balai parihasan uvachaha. Taking the girl's garments, he quickly climbed to the top of a kadamba tree. Then, as he laughed loudly and his companions also laughed, he addressed the girls jokingly. I wonder if Dam Sudam and Vasudam, if they were all there in addition to the babies. So they all, taking the girl's garments, he quickly climbed on the top of the kadamba tree and he laughed loudly as his companions also laughed, and he addressed jokingly. Commentary. The small boys laughed for no reason. By laughing loudly, Krishna called attention to himself and then joked with the Braj Kumaris. Krishna said, "Oh, young girls of Braj, do you know who has put all these clothes on a branch of the kadamba tree? While herding the cows, I saw them from far away and thought, today the kadamba tree is very attractive with colorful flowers and fruits. To this astonishing spectacle, I came running here and climbed this tree." The young girls replied, "They are our clothes." Krishna, "That cannot be. If they were yours, how did they get up on this branch? How did they get on this branch high in the tree?" Gopis, You have stolen them and put them there." Krishna, "Are you blaming me? I am the son of King Nanda. Am I a thief? If you doubt me, then just go to Mathura and complain to King Kamsa." Gopis, "Don't get angry. Just look closely at the clothing and see if there are women's or men's clothing." Krishna, "According to my understanding, they must be women's clothing because they are so colorful. But so what? You are not the only women in this universe. Could these not be clothes of some other women?" Gopis, "That's true, but who else besides us can come to this secluded forest?" Krishna, Oh, girls who like to wander in lonely places, are you the only women that wander in lonely places and play privately?" Gopis, "Oh, fool, we did not come here to play. We came to worship Durga, the deity of this kadamba tree." Krishna, "Are you the only young women worshipping Durga? Are there no others?" Gopis, "There are no others." Krishna, "Oh foolish ones! Every night the demigoddesses come here on celestial vehicles to worship, for the worship of Durga." Gopis, "Even if they did perform worship here, why would they leave their clothing here and go away?" Krishna, "Oh, young girls, you do not know anything. Tonight they will come again and perform worship. After bathing, they will don these clothes. That is why they left them here." Gopis, "You do not know the truth. Today we will perform worship. The deity of the forest has placed those clothes high up in the tree for us to wear after bathing." Okay, so I'm going to read this verse and we'll end here. Atra gatya balakamam swang samvasa pragrihyatam satyam pravanino narma yadyuyam vratakarshitaha. Lord Krishna said, "My dear girls, you may each come here as you wish and take back your garments. I am telling you the truth, and I'm not joking with you, since I see you're fatigued from executing austere vows." Commentary. This verse illustrates how Krishna joked with the girls. Krishna said, "If these clothes are really yours, then come here if you like and identify them. You can take them after paying me one small necklace each in order to satisfy me after you've insulted me. each, e- each one of you should come individually, not all at once or two or three together, because out of greed for the cloth, one woman will take more than one cloth." Gopis, "We cannot go there." Krishna, laughing, "Oh, girls, Abala, weak ones, you have become weak due to your intense austerities and therefore cannot come here." Another implication of the word of Abala is, "If you don't do this, I will not give the clothing because I am strong." What can you weak women do? Gopis. We do not trust your crafty words. Krishna. I am telling you the truth. Or Krishna said, I am making a vow to you. According to the Amar Kosh dictionary, the word satyam can mean truth or vow. Krishna. I am not joking. I see that you are exhausted from the difficulties of your vows. Because of your austerities, I am upholding the principles of religion by showing mercy and devotion to you. And then, okay, so we'll continue from verse 11 tomorrow. But Krishna will say, I have never spoken a lie, and these boys know it. Therefore, O slender waisted girls, please come forward either one by one or all together and pick out your clothes. And seeing how Krishna was joking with them, the gopis became fully immersed in love for him. And as long as they glanced at each other, they began to laugh and joke among themselves, even in their embarrassment. But still, they did not come out of the water. So we'll find out what happens tomorrow. Sweet Leela. Right. One time, my mother, she told Srila Prabhupada that she wanted to make a children's book. She wanted to get Srila Prabhupada's blessings to make a children's book, but she never did, actually. It's kind of her dream, though, to make a children's book. She should do it one time. And Srila Prabhupada said, yes, you should make a children's book, but do not paint the gopis naked. So a direct instruction from Srila Prabhupada to my mother. He was talking about this Leela, of course. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Nitai Gaur Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Nitai Gaur Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Nitai Gaur Hari Bol. जय श्री श्री गुरु गौरांग गंधार गिरिधारी श्री श्री राधा विनोद बिहारी जू की जय, श्री गोविंद गोपीनाथ मरन मोहन जू की जय, नितिल प्रविष्टम विष्णुपाद अष्टोत्तर शत शिष्यमार भक्ति वेदांत नारायण गोसाई महाराज श्री गुरुदेव की जय, नितिल प्रविष्टम विष्णुपाद अष्टोत्तर शत शिष्यमार भक्ति वेदांत वामन गोसाई महाराज की जय, नितिल प्रविष्टम विष्णुपाद अष्टोत्तर शत शिष्यमार भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी महाराज श्री प्रभुपाद की जय, नितिल प्रविष्टम विष्णुपाद Nitila Pravishtam Vishnupad Ashatara Shatashmar Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Gosai Maharaj ki jai. Nitila Pravishtam Vishnupad Ashatara Shatashmar Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Gosai Prabhupada ki jai. Nitila Pravishta Maha Bhagavat Srila Goksharas Babaji Maharaj ki jai. Nitila Pravishta Vaishnav Sarvabhauma Srila Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj ki jai. Shri Rupanu Goriya Guru Varga ki jai. Shri Rupa Sanatan Bhatta Raghunath Shri Jeev Gopal Bhatta Dashagunath Shar Gosai Prabhu ki jai. Shri Sarup Damodar Rai Ramanandari Shri Gaur Parshad Vrinda ki jai. Nama Chai Shri Haridas Thakur ki jai. Prem se kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Shri Kshetra Mandala Gaur Mandala Vraja Mandala Mathura Vrindavan Dham ki jai. Sarva Abhishta Pradata Giriraj Maharaj ki jai. Shri Radha Kunda Shama Kund ki jai. Shri Yamuna Devi Ganga Devi ki jai. Shri Tulsi Maharani Vrinda Devi ki jai. Shri Bhakti Devi ki jai. Shri Purnamasi Yogamaya ki jai. Shri Gopeshwar Mahadev ki jai. Shri Harinam Sankirtan ki jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnav Vrinda ki jai. Grantaraj Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam ki jai. Shri Veṇu-gīta ki jai. Shri Vastraharan Lila ki jai. Srila Visvanatha Cakravarti Thakur ki jai. Sarartha-darsini vritti ki jai. Sarva Vraja Devi Gan ki jai. Shri Vrishabhanu Nandini Shrimati Radha Thakurani ki jai. Shri Krishna, Shri Harinam Sankirtan ki jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai. Samagata Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki jai, Shinitai Gaur Premanande, Hari Hari Bol. Vrindai Tulsi Devai Priyai Keshavashita, Krishna Bhakti Pradadevi Sattvatai Namo Namaha. Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Vacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Dandavat pranams, everybody. Hi, Rupmanjari Didi. Okay. See you all tomorrow. Tomorrow's Akadashi also, isn't it? But yeah, we will read the rest of this Leela. Dandavat pranams, Intira Mataji, Rukmini Didi, everybody else. Haribo.